Let's check your work for 14.3 times 2.4. So when I am multiplying decimals, we want to make sure that we line them up. So 14.3 times 2.4. Now, I'm going to multiply through as if these were whole numbers. So I'm going to look at this number as 143, and I'm going to look at this number as 24. So really what you were doing was you were moving these decimal points over one spot each, or you can also think of this as multiplying your numbers by 10 in order to get whole numbers to work with. So 4 times 3 is 12, carry your 2, or 1. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17, carry your 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Now I need to go through, put my placeholder 0, and multiply by 2. So 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 1 is 2. I add my partial products together, so I get 2, 13, 14, and 3. Now, I have to remember to go back, though, and put in the decimals that I originally got rid of. So since I moved them 1, 2 total spaces to the right, I have to go back 1, 2 total spaces. So down in your answer, 1, 2, and your decimal point should go right here. So your answer was 34.32 or 34 and 32 hundredths. The next problem was 7.25 times 4.2. So let's go ahead and we're going to write this as 725 times 42. The reason I got these whole numbers was I took this decimal and moved it over 2 spots, took this decimal, moved it over 1 spot. In other words, I multiplied this number by 100 and this number by 10 in order to get 725 times 42. 2 times 5 is 10, carry your 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And 2 times 7 is 14. Make sure to put your placeholder 0. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 1 is 29. Make sure to add up your partial products, so I get a total of 30,450, but I have to go back and put my decimal where it belongs. So I need to go back 1, 2, 3 total spaces. So 1, 2, 3 total spaces. So my answer was 30.450, or you could also just say 30.45. So when we are dividing decimals, we have to set up our division problem to solve it. So we are dividing up 91.2. So 91.2 is what's going to go on the inside of my division bar. And on the outside, I will have 6. So the good news is I am dividing by a whole number. So I don't need to worry about moving about all of my decimal points. I just need to go ahead and solve the problem. But as we've done before, when we've been dividing fractions and turning them into decimals, we need to make sure that we bring our decimal point up and put it in our answer so we don't forget about it. 6 can go into 9 once because 1 times 6 is 6, and we would have 3 left over. 6 cannot go into 3, so we bring down our 1. 6 goes into 31 5 times because 5 times 6 is 30. We still have 1 left over, so we need to bring down this 2, and 6 goes into 12 2 times because 2 times 6 is 12. We have a remainder of 0, so we don't have to add any more zeros to continue to incorporate our numbers, so your quotient or your answer would be 15.2. For this problem, I'm going to go ahead and set it up again to solve my division. So I'm dividing up 67.56, and I'm dividing that number by 1.2. Now, with this problem, I realized that I have a decimal as my divisor, and this can be really difficult to do because not many people know how many times 1.2 can go into 6. But to solve that problem, I'm just going to go ahead and change this 1.2 into 12. And I did that by moving this decimal point over 1 spot. But whatever I do to the outside of my problem, I have to make sure to do to the inside. So I would also have to move this decimal point over 1 spot. So now I have 675.6 divided by 12. but that gives me a whole number to work with as my divisor. 12 can go into 67 5 times because 5 times 12 is 60. You are left with 7, so we need to bring down our 5. 12 goes into 75 6 times, so we put a 6. Oh, and we must always remember to bring up our decimal point. 6 times 12 is 72. When we subtract, we are left with 3. So I bring down my 6, and 12 goes into 36 3 times because 3 times 12 is 36. So we do not have a remainder. We don't need to put in any more zeros, so your answer is 56.3. Now, that would be the same answer that you would get up here if you were to go through and divide by 1.2.